Welcome back to another Straight Talk with All Pest Solutions. I'm Wendell Daniel, founder and CEO of All Pest Solutions, and again joining me today is my son, Jacob Daniel, and Chief of Operations. Today we're going to break it down and talk about two specific, the pesky of pests maybe would be a good way to title it. We're going to talk about flies and spiders today.
Yeah, the elusive summer pest. That's probably a good one.
Absolutely. So, especially this time of year in North Texas, one of the most common causes for both of those. We'll kind of break it down and start with spiders first. But, I guess I'll start with the fact, Jacob, that, spiders aren't really a pest. I mean, they are, but they're not an insect.
Well, right. Being an arachnid, they're really tough. And in our industry, they tell us all the time we buy all the premium products that money can buy, but all of it is still generated to kill insects. They'll kill spiders, but they don't truly make an arachnicide over a pesticide. So that's the constant game we're playing with that.
You can read every label on the planet of any type of product like that, and as Jacob said, there is no arachnicide, and spiders are just different. I mean, when we're talking about insects, most products work a very specific way. When we talk about how the lethal dose is received and it's consumed and how it kills, and spiders don't react and operate the same way.
Well, and the delivery sometimes is the key component. When it comes to ants or roaches or other things. I mean, they're constantly cleaning their antenna or their feet, or like roaches have a series of cups on each leg that they need to be able to walk up walls and other things, so they'll ingest it or it'll absorb through a portion of the body that's touching the ground or touching the surface at which the application was done. And spiders just don't do that. They're above the ground in a way where our delivery is just not going to get there.
If you look at most pesticides, most of it is considered what we call microencapsulated. If you looked at it under a magnifying glass, it looks like little golf balls, and that's what sticks to all the said places Jacob just mentioned, and they groom themselves, and that's how it gets in them and works. And spiders don't groom, and they don't do that, and so. It's just a really hard conversation to educate the consumer about, and we get that call 100 times a day that, man, we're just having really bad spiders. And, the more we build and we move out into these areas where it used to be cornfields and we're building homes, man, it just takes a while to get a hold of and get control of spiders. But when we go and do application, we lay a product out and it'll last X number of days, and we run a quarterly service. It'll kill insects all those times, but those spiders, it's contact kill.
Well, and that what you just said there is a key component of spider control. Just like we've said in other previous videos, it's pest control, not necessarily pest elimination, right? So spiders are always predatory, whether we're building webs or we're on the run or on just the general approach, but you're controlling the pests that they're after, or you're controlling the other aspects that's keeping other insects there that the spiders are trying to obtain or trap. So we can kill thousands and thousands of spiders, but we got to control or mitigate the pest problem to help with the spider problem.
Yeah.
But in just like so many other things, whether it be wildlife or other situations, even termites in older parts of town, it's location based. We'll have a different conversation about spiders in neighborhoods such as Inspiration or any neighborhood neighboring a body of water, a large body of water. And I'm sure many folks will kind of, I guess, resonate with that, in that if anybody's got a lake house or got a boat dock or anything like that, the spiders are insane off the boat dock, right? But you're not going to have that same kind of spider issue here in town in a much densely populated neighborhood.
And you got different, you have different types of spiders. And so the one that, makes the phone ring in most neighborhoods is a predatory spider, the classic wolf spider, which is, scampering and moving.
Which is the hardest one. It is the one that we have to have the conversation about the most. It's the hardest one to kill, because anything that's hanging, naturally we can spider mop, we can spray that, we can dust that, we can get product directly to the target. It's the predatories that are the issue.
Yeah. You know, and like Jacob said, one of the Achilles heels neighborhoods for web building spiders is inspiration. And we encourage those consumers that maybe a quarterly service is not necessarily the square peg in the round hole for us or them, because we need to be on top of them a lot quicker, and we need to spend more time and spider mop and do things differently. Because when you've got web building spiders and you've got water and aquatics and all those things, it just the dynamics in the game changes.
Well, that, and you have other seasonal aquatic bugs that also drive that issue. Inspiration is going to be really close to the next aquatic-based insect that's insane, which is midges, right? But you accompany that with some other factors, just like inspiration. You're saying we have a special program just for inspiration that we do monthly treatments in between, or monthly spider mopping and control, different from anywhere else, just because the building is just insane. But that neighborhood is also very pretty, right? It was designed to look a certain way. All the uplighting, all the downlighting, so you light everything up. That's just a homing beacon for everything that's going to draw to that. And so ensues the spider problem.
Yeah.
So that also goes with that too. We try to mitigate the lights and the growth and all of that.
Well, and when you have a slogan like "Come experience the ultimate in value, integrity, and trust," like we have built our company on, we try to be bitterly honest with the consumer. If you call a pest control company and they'll tell you, "Yes, ma'am, I can take care of all your spiders," and if they should be red lights and sirens going off on the other end of the phone when you get that. I mean, if we had the answer to that, the silver bullet for that, we could corner the market. Yeah. I don't care who it is, what company, what product. It is a daunting task.
Always.
And we tell a customer that, hey, your spider problem is going to be a whole lot better with us than it's going to be without us, but it is a process.
Well, especially with predators, with wolf spiders, right?
Yeah.
And you go out there into Nevada, Josephine, Lavon, Cattle Mills, right? Lots of pasture, lots of growth, lots of still got to be developed, right? And even when we were out there, it was when we sat out there by ourselves. The spider and the cricket problem, that was another one. Were just insane. But in time, right, year after year, it just got better and better and better. And the houses that have the majority of the issues are the ones boundaring the what's still pasture.
Yeah, it was still agricultural land. Yes.
Mm-hmm. As
absolutely.
It builds around them, that calms down.
So we can kind of switch to the other one out. So we get to call a lot too about the two, dangerous spiders, the two, so the brown recluse and the black widow. And so I want to touch base real quick on that before we move to flies. Yeah. But, that is a problem, but it's not as big a problem as most people think. Most people, every spider they see, it's a brown or it's a black, and it's not really the case. You and I both know where we see them the most. Let's just talk about black widows just real quick.
Well, then again, that's anything that's venomous, right? So if you're seeing them in force and in large numbers out in the driveway, you're having to step over it to get in. That's not going to be the venomous or spider that you're going to be worried about. The snakes are the same way. You're not going to just run across a copperhead snake just hanging out in your front yard. That's not a thing. That's a defense mechanism so that because they're so vulnerable in other places. Brown recluse are going to be deep in old portions of the house. You're going to have to go out of your way to find it. Same with black widows. If you've ever run across one, he's almost always going to be in the corner of the garage or bricks. That's a big one, especially with new houses. They leave those bricks in the garage, and they'll be in those little bitty holes in between the bricks. You'll have to move all the bricks to find it.
Yeah, and we find when we have black widows, it's usually the brand new house. Mm-hmm. It's the new house, the new subdivision. Once we start service, that's usually not a problem. Yeah. We do find them around the pool pumps, and if you've got swimming pools, we find them there. We find them sometimes on the fence, tucked in behind the runners on the fence at the picket snail too. But the most common, as Jacob said, is by the garage doors on either side. But they're catching just like just like the cartoon. They're laying and trying to catch insects. But they're really not as common as you think you are. So let's switch, I guess, because we're about 9 minutes in. Let's switch to flies.
That one's like emptying an ocean with a spoon.
It is, but they've been really, really bad this year. But I guess the most profound statement I've ever heard is flies equal decomposition. Mm-hmm. Okay,
or decaying matter.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you got a fly problem, something's bad. Something's going awry.
Well, and I talked to Martin earlier on the way here. Just kind of got some specs off of him. He's our local entomologist. We call, we run things up. If we don't know, we call him, get identification, get a treatment plan, etc. Just kind of got some info off of him on that deal. And just like last year, the flies were insane. They're insane again this year, and it has everything to do with weather. And just like any other podcast we've ever had, whether it be rats or squirrels or anything else or termites, it's weather.
Climatic events.
And it's specific temperatures in late weather, to be, I guess, more specific in that. You know, when we don't have a lot of rain through the spring, which we really didn't have a lot of crazy weather through the spring. We didn't have some big termite swarms this year like we were hoping, right? But we started getting late spring, early summer, heavy rain, bad storms, etc. And then we're having extreme heats early, just like we did last year. That is the workings of the perfect storm for the fly issue.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, your standard house fly is going to live like 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yep.
They can lay hundreds of eggs at a time, and they'll pupate within 7 to 10 days, you know. Yep. But it has everything to do with heat. The hotter it is, the more rain, the faster that will grow.
The cycle perpetuates itself, and you just have these explosions of flies. Mm-hmm. And we do have some good programs for that, you know, and we have, I mean, it's not a part of our regular service, but we definitely have some options for our consumer. But where I see that happening a lot is, especially, there's so many HOAs in our market. Yeah. And those HOAs, they really bind you guys on where you keep your trash cans. Mm-hmm. And those trash cans become the devil for us. Whether they're in the garage or right beside the garage door, man, that is our source many times in most of these residential homes. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think about how often your trash runs and picks up for you in your own home, man, the trash can go bad and cause a fly problem in between trash pickups.
Yeah, in this heat. Yeah.
In this heat. Yeah. And that trash can, you know, and I mean, another one we have a lot of this time of year is people traveling, going on vacation, been out of town, man, whatever you do when you leave on vacation, the last thing you do before you lock the door and head out is take your trash out. Do not leave anything in your trash can while you're gone a week on vacation, because you come back, you're going to have a house full of flies.
Well, and the other thing, too, is just like Martin was saying earlier, you know, the fly issue starts within, you know, it could be decaying plant matter, it could be moisture in the grass around the house, and with the rain, that doesn't help us, and we're also watering everything because it's so hot. We're trying to keep the yards looking nice. So it starts in the moist areas around the house, and then it will move into shaded, dry places, which is almost always the easiest in the garage. You know, and then from there, your trash cans may be in the garage because you're required to, and they're gross and disgusting. And matter of fact, I drove by one earlier. The trash can cleanup guys, you know, they take those and wash them out. Like that's a big deal. Like keeping those clean. Yeah. Or then again, moving them if you can.
Yeah.
But
I think another one, just to give the consumer that's listening, the listening audience, you know, we get that whole call like, oh my God, I got maggots. You know, I'm amazed of the general public that doesn't understand that maggots basically are fly larvae. You know,
no, they are fly larvae.
Yeah, and so they don't associate the two. You know, all that is just the next round of flies. It's fixing to become flies, but they start. You know, that's fly larvae. I mean, that's what that is. And so we'll get the call. I got maggots on the floor. Well, yeah, I mean, the flies have laid eggs. They're fixing to hatch. Yep. You know, that's what that is.
Take them outside, dispose of them, clean the trash can. You're good to go.
Yep. So, you know, keeping your trash in check, keeping your trash taken out, keeping trash cans clean, trying to keep, any kind of dog feces picked up in the yard. That's a huge one this time of year. Yeah. But there again, flies equal organic, decomposition,
decaying matter,
and they go hand in hand. So you got to, help yourself. But like I said, we have a phenomenal product that's an aerosol. We offer it to you just to sell you the can, or we will sell you the can and put it out as a service. But man, I'm telling you, I mean, it's not.
Even if you want to tell them what it is, even they can just go buy their own if they want to do that too.
Absolutely. I mean, it's called PT Alpine.
Pressurized fly bait.
Yep, it's in an aerosol can. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it from us. But man, it is a phenomenal product.
Yeah.
It's the best I've ever seen, and I've been in this half my life. But
I think it'd be important to add to that too. You know, like even if you go to Tractor Supply, Home Depot, Lowe's, you can get the fly traps and whatnot. You know, if there are folks that are using those, I always tell everybody put it as far away from where you don't want flies, right? And they stink, and they're gross, they're disgusting. But you can put them if they're in the garage and primarily around the back patio or whatever. Like go to the back fence, hang it back there in the back. It'll draw that back over there.
Yep.
You know, same rules apply with so many other things.
Yep.
You know.
But that PT Alpine is a phenomenal product, and you can spray it on trash cans and by the back door and places, man, and the flies will just draw to it like a magnet, land on it, and you can literally just watch the fly and just count and watch him just fall off dead.
Yep.
And within seconds.
Yeah, and read the label, of course, but it suggests non-porous surfaces. So like even this, table, kind of slick, that's a non-porous surface. It'll stay there for several months, after application. We like putting them on trash cans. You could do the trim around doors, front door, back door, works really good there. And a lot of times if we're doing service and the customer's got a fly issue, that's a lot of times what the boys will do. Yep. They'll put that fly bait around those areas.
Yep.
So
as we wrap up today, we do have a very comprehensive service that we price and quote over the phone, and we run most houses, most structures on a quarterly basis, every 3 months, 4 times a year. But there are things that require additional. Flies is additional service for us. I
think it's important to kind of recap just a second on additionals with the predatory spiders, especially for our country-based houses, is stuffing weep holes.
Absolutely.
Stuff in weep holes. So every house has got a series of weep holes. Most cases, they're every third or fourth brick. Sometimes you get them every brick. That's not good. Doesn't help anybody. But stuffing weep holes will help shut down the access at which they can utilize to get in the house. And then we're worried about front door, back door, garage, and other places that we can mitigate a little bit better. So that applies to current customers and new, right? It's an additional cost, but it's a permanent fixture. Happens one time. Stops a lot of things getting in, not just spiders.
Yeah, I've always told consumers that, like, if I could take this eye and look down the outside of the house and this eye and look down the inside wall of the house, and you watch a spider come up into that weep hole, he'll go right over the tack strip or under the wall and over the plate and right in the house. Mm-hmm. It's just that quick, how fast they can get in. Yep. So stuffing weep holes is a big deal. Well, I think we're about 17 minutes. We probably got our podcast made today.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I mean, we could talk for a long time on all those things.
Absolutely. Well, hope we brought you another informational podcast segment today and help educate our consumer. We appreciate you joining us for another Straight Talk podcast with All Pest Solutions. We'll see you next month.